If everybody could grab a seat, we will get this show on the road. I'd like to welcome you all to 1 Million Cups. 1 Million Cups is part of the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. There are 1 Million Cups chapters all over the United States. They meet every Wednesday morning. The format is pretty much the same. There's some connecting, networking time, and then we always have at least one. Our pipeline is so full, we're doing 2 a week. Up-and-coming startups, entrepreneur enterprises make a presentation, and then there's time for some more connecting and networking afterwards, and you can be out the door by 9:30. So, who's here for the first time? Well, welcome. Please come back. Please bring your friends with you. If you feel like you should be up here presenting, let one of the organizers know, or if you know somebody that should be up here, let them know to get in touch with us. That's our mission. That's some of the chapters in the Silicon Prairie, or this part of the country. So, if you're out of town and you want to go to a 1 minute, it's kind of like AA. There's always a meeting someplace on Wednesdays. So, okay, we would like to thank our sponsors. Of course, Kauffman Foundation, The Mill for the all-important coffee, Don't Panic Labs, and Bill and Lindsay for this awesome space. Baird Home, are they here today? Not today. And then starting next week, I think they'll be here every week.
Every other week.
Every other week. And they're going to bring donuts, I guess. And they also are open to talk with you about some legal matters. They can't give you legal advice per se, but they can sort of head you in the right direction.
Can I ask them which companies to invest all my stock money into?
No.
Oh, no.
Continue.
Dow is the one that you need to talk to about where you invest all of your money. And afterwards, we do have what's called office hours. So experts like Baird Home, when Quentin's here, he's our expert in government contracting. He may show up here later if you have questions on that. If you have questions on strategic planning, I'll be more than happy to talk with you about that. Lindsay would be happy to talk with you about software development. Dow would be happy to talk with you about investments, and Dane would be happy to talk to you about bats and rats. We also have Fuse as a sponsor. Bob Hendricks here is Mr. Fuse. Turbine Flats and Fuse, you can work free of charge on Wednesdays if you attend 1 Million Cups. So if you're in town from somewhere else, you got a workspace if you need to stay for the day. Escape Lincoln is also, and Ann is not here. She's at Chamber Coffee today, but also a sponsor, and Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. LPED, which is a joint venture between the city and the Chamber of Commerce. These are our organizers. This would not be possible without Ann, Escape Lincoln, Abby with LPED, Dane with Bats and Rats, Dow with Merrill Lynch. We have Lindsay with Don't Panic Labs, Sarah with Nebraska Wesleyan, and I'm Von Carter with StratDM. Please check in. There's QR codes on the table. There's one right there. There's one back by the coffee. But that gets you on our list, and you will get basically one email a week just letting you know what the upcoming 1 Million Cups is going to consist of.
Oh, sorry.
We've already talked about office hours. Please silence your phones. And our first presenter today is Joe Taracco. Joe is kind of famous. If you've ever seen a movie called The Social Dilemma, Joe is one of the stars in that movie. And actually, Nancy Pelosi addressed that movie from the floor of Congress and said it's a must-see for everybody. So, so anyhow, Joe is going to tell us all about service stories. So, no further ado, let's welcome Joe to the 1 Million Cup stage. Woo!
All right, good morning, everyone. Today, really special for us at Service Stories. This is going to be the first time I'm testing this presentation for a presentation next week to 1,000 auto shops, which is our premier customer. And it's a little more general today. I'm going to truncate it because I got a lot more time next week. But I'm going to put my ask up front, which is today what I'm looking for is critical feedback on this presentation. Does it make sense to you? Are there things you think I'm just a total fool and I need to throw out or defend better? Let me know what you think about this. And the topic today, as you can see, is AI search and what it means for businesses. It's going to be a high-level overview of what we do at Service Stories, mostly weaved in as technical how-to and what's changing and how you can take advantage of it. So let's kick off. Oops, pressed the wrong screen on that one. Swear I'm technical. Okay, there we go. So as mentioned, I am CEO and founder of Service Stories. We help service-based businesses take the work they do every day and turn it into content that ranks on Google and gets mentioned by AI. The problem that we solve, and if you've seen my presentation before, you know it's AI is changing the way people search, and that's destroying online visibility for a lot of businesses who are not well prepared. The big difference is the way that we search. This is changing a lot of things. We used to type in auto repair Omaha, and some people still do that today. It's not like it's disappeared. It's probably not going to disappear for some time. But it's also similarly true that now people are picking up their phones and having full conversations with AI. Not even texting and typing anymore, straight voice texting into an AI system and talking back and forth. So what we're going to go over today is a little bit of SEO history, how we got here, why things have changed this way, what is the behavioral change in users that you're seeing and how that then changes your strategy, some real world examples, and then how you can be ready for AI. I also am testing this, but you see this little photo icon down here? I tried to put these across the screen and say, these are probably ones you want to take a photo of. Take that knowledge back to your team. So look for that, okay? We'll start off with SEO history. Those of you who are not in SEO, we'll go high level here. When we first started putting content online, it was really just like, if you're there, you're the only one there, right? It was really easy to rank in the early days of the internet. Eventually, Google came along and changed that, prioritized the way information is distributed. Their mission was and still is to organize the world's information. This is what I learned while consulting for them. It's their whole business model. Early 2000s, we got into the era of just spam content, like not very credible backlinks, all this kind of system to try to hack SEO, packing keywords, making invisible text, all these things that Google eventually caught on to and started to fight back. There were updates that have since changed the way people do SEO and really forced us to be more articulate and detailed in the work if you don't want to get penalized. The biggest potential change beyond that era of spam to non-spam content since then was then the mobile-first computing era. And this, to me, is one of the most important paradigms that's parallel to what we're seeing today. At this point in history, let's call it, 2007, the iPhone came out. Within 5 to 10 years after, everyone was on their phone searching the internet. And Google then required that you have a mobile responsive website in order to rank at the top. It was best for their users, your page speed had to be fast, it had to work on a phone and a desktop, all these things, or you would just decline in rank. Now I bring that up because there are a lot of people in the room probably who do know SEO and are saying, well, AI search is no different. And I would agree, it's not as different today as it will be in a couple years probably. But what I see happening is similar to the mobile responsive era. We're now going to have to figure out how to work in the AI native era, and that's what's going to be coming. After mobile response, we had this period where Google really tried to crack down, get your content to be more and more human, more authentic, more expert. And where we're headed, where we've been, is a world where working with computers is going to be more ambient and conversational. I don't know how much you've seen, but Google just pushed Google Search Live to 200 plus countries just last week, which means now you can take Google Search, stand your phone up, have the video recording while you go work underneath your sink and have it watch you do the plumbing work and ask it questions along the way, and it will work you through. Ambient computing means we're going to work with computers, and it's just going to be the air we breathe. It's not necessarily going to be a screen that we have to interact with. That is where we're heading over time. Now, what does this mean for behavioral change in the way that users are searching and your business is then being found? Well, to take you at the very highest level, we got to think of the funnel, the conversion funnel that we're pushing people through. Top of funnel, these are people who probably have not really a full clue of what they're looking for. They're just topically interested in something, and maybe they're just beginning their journey to try to find a result, right? Middle of funnel, they're in the consideration stage. They've probably done some of that research. Now they're digging a little deeper, and they might buy in this moment, but chances are not as high as if they're in the bottom of funnel. And you can see kind of the keywords here. I have some examples here. So top of funnel, what is content marketing? How does SEO work, right? Middle funnel, best CRM software for small businesses. HubSpot versus MailChimp compared. See the specificity as it comes down, the way people search, to where then I'm looking for, now, book a free SEO audit for my business. Pricing and plans, very specific, like I'm ready to buy if you catch me on these keywords. That's always been a thing. That's not changing. But the difference is the user behavior. Historically, in traditional search, you go search at the high level or even the mid funnel, and then you're going to go and compare products. You might go to Wayfair, you might go to Amazon, you might go to these other places that are in the top 5 and see what's going on. With AI search, people are just having full conversations, living in that conversation screen and getting results fed to them. They're more or less trusting the AI. Sometimes people will dig in, of course. Like, I'm not saying people don't do that anymore, but we're seeing at large scale that people are not clicking through near as much as they used to from AI search. And so it's very important that you are there when an answer is responded to. Now, why is that important? Here, I'll bring you another fact from working at Google. The psychology is what made Google more valuable than Facebook, right? People think, like, who's Google's biggest competitor? We always knew internally it's Facebook because they're both advertising businesses. But you wouldn't think that if you were not inside of Google, right? If you look at their business model, though, averages for advertising cost comparison, the average ad on Facebook might cost you around $1.72 per click, where Google might cost you $5.26. That's the statistics you can find out there. But the reason being, when you're on Facebook and you're advertising to people, they're just browsing. They're really there to talk to friends and be entertained. When they're on Google search, they're actively searching for a result, and that's why psychologically it's more valuable. Now, we don't know the numbers yet for AI, but the fact of the matter is when people come to you from AI, they are now at the bottom of the funnel. These are now the most valuable potential customers, ready to convert once they do land. The conversion ratios, research is early, but it's showing 9 to 24x ROI on those conversions because they're just more primed, ready to buy. Now let me give you some concrete examples of what that means, though, because this is different, right? Traditional keywords here. I'm going to go through a few. This is short tail keyword, really trying to own big things that if you were to buy this might cost you quite a bit in Google advertising. Then you have something where a user comes in and says, why is my Cadillac SRX losing power and dying after starting? That's more long tail. You have more keywords packed in. It's more potential of different things that could be. Where we're heading, where we actually are today now, is these long tail, natural query-based interactions with search. It feels like my Cadillac's losing power. It seems to be dying after I start. What might that mean, and where could I go in Omaha for professional service, right? That's a realistic thing someone might put in today. But where we're really getting is these full conversations, right? Think about the actual use case. You have this issue. You're going, I'm having issues with my Cadillac SRX. not really sure what's going on. This is what people say, right? Like they're just talking it out. Okay, so totally different search experience. And if I have about a minute here, I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. Wow, so many tabs, don't I?
Relatable.
You know what? I don't have it up, but what I am going to do is real quickly just click on this and show you. You've seen search in the past, but now I'm just going to show you this one for demo purposes here. This is, if I put in that query, you can see now how it changes. Now you're getting these long answers. You can see Gateway Auto, that's my family's auto shop, mentioned right here, right? And then you'll see it along the way down below. But if you notice the title of that post, that blog post, it's very long tail. It is almost prescriptively what this user has searched for, rather than get your ignition checked, right? Some kind of high short tail keywords that people are trying to own. Not only are those short tail keywords more expensive, they're also ripe for disrupting in this new era of AI search. There's a whole world of long tail queries, natural language queries we've never created content for, and your business can put a stake in the ground by being first, not only in the mention, but also you can see ranked number 1. Who would write this blog post before AI? Nobody. It doesn't make sense to write that many at that volume and that specificity. It was financially irresponsible. But with AI, now we can. So let me then, now that you've seen that part and all of my tabs, let's go back through and tell you what you can do to be prepared. So we talked about the psychology, how it's changed. Now today, what you can do to prepare your business. Again, maybe this is the top to take a photo. These are the high-level tips, and we'll dive into each. Number 1, write natural language content at scale. Not just once in a while. We need larger volumes now. Imagine this is conversational AI. Your business needs to start having a conversation with the AI. And do you talk to somebody every 3 months and remember them? Sure, you might literally remember their name. But if I talk to you every day or every week, you're probably going to remember me better, right? Robots are no different. Create for query fan out. This is bullet point number 2 we'll talk about. Totally different way of interacting with search, similar in some ways, but very different in others. And lastly, optimize your website for AI crawling. Some people literally have crawling turned off. I would recommend you don't do that, but that's up to you, okay? Now, big things with writing natural language content at scale. This is not necessarily easy. It's actually quite a bit of work. And one thing we do at Service Stories is we pull in repair orders, work orders, statements of work from service businesses that outline what did the customer want, how did they do it, what were the parts involved, all those things. We pull in that data and we turn it into stories. All that data is there to tell a story, though. If you don't have your business set up, if you don't know where that data exists, I'm calling this your conversational data. You need to leverage that to then turn it into content. You need to organize that. Figure out how to make it machine readable. And then once you've done that, you've created the content, how do you manage distribution? Because now you're going to have a high volume. It's a lot of extra work. We automate this process through Service Stories. Second, query fan out. This image maybe could be better, but the concept is this. When you go and search a 3-sentence thing on AI, it's then going to break it apart into maybe 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 different like short tail, mid tail queries, and it's then going to look for results. That's where the argument of, well, this is no different than Google search actually has some truth to it, right? This is really happening. But now imagine if you got 5 or 10 or 20 different queries that are happening, instead of just wanting to be in this one short tail keyword lane, you want to be number 1 in 8 of those 10 query fanouts. Or you want to be number 1 in 3 and number 5 in the others, or some mixture to where now AI is saying, actually, this is the one to source at the top. And then lastly, optimize your website for AI crawling. If you don't know much about this, there's easy formats like schema markup, JSON LD that are commonly being applied already. But if you don't do that, that's one thing I would add. Additionally, people talk about content negotiation. I don't know how much I really believe that works. I mean, we can barely use reCAPTCHA to catch bots. Imagine trying to, automatically serve bots versus humans with code. Kind of iffy. And then last one here that I'm seeing people explore, and we're actually exploring too as a company, is a markdown version of your website. So this is at some point rerouting. Maybe you have md or ai.yourwebsite.com instead of www. And that website is optimized for AI, just like we had mobile responsive websites in the past. We've already been testing this, and what we're seeing is the average web page that a company is promoting today is anywhere from 60 to 100,000 tokens. And what our AI optimized versions are sitting somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 tokens. Now imagine you're a business and your business is buying auto parts. If you had the exact same part in a catalog and one was $100 and one was $10, what are you going to pick? Huh? Exactly, right? Thank you. Thank you. Some people might prefer the 100 just because brand, right? But otherwise, you're Google, you're a logical optimization algorithm. You're going to pick the thing that's cheapest for your business, and information is their business. So we believe this is where it's going to head in the future, and this is a good way for you to patch that on today rather than trying to rebuild your whole site in custom. That's a heavy lift for people to do. So that's where we've started, and any of this I'm happy to talk about afterwards. That is the end of my presentation. I hope I hit the time on that. But we are Service Stories. Joe Toscano, the founder. Happy to talk to you about what we do afterwards, and really excited to hear your feedback. What did the time hit on that one? We good? Okay. Question?
So talk specifically about Service Stories, and for a small business, how does your program work? Is it
Sure.
monthly? Is it service-based? Is
Yep.
it by job or by website? Or talk for a minute. How that
Yeah.
works. Is it, how do you scale it? Or
Sure. We are a service, or sorry, we are a SaaS business. We do have a monthly pricing. It's per location, per physical location. So you might be a plumbing company that works in 10 different service areas. It's just one location that you have a building, right? That's how we price it. If you're an auto shop, you have 10 locations, then that's how that adds up. Yeah, and it's mostly based on scale of content. We have 3 different tiers. The Essentials, which is just like a couple blogs a month, test it, get going. Some people have no content, and it's really nice. And then we have a premium tier that's unlimited content across all platforms, and you're literally just integrating your management platform. In the auto shop world, it's called a shop management platform. One-to-one, pull that in, it works. If you're in home services, maybe it's Jobber, Service Titan, something like that. We've also, like I said, we do work with a creative photography agency. We have some IT firms who are interested, and it's just, we're going through basically statements of work. We would love to get into we'll actually pull in your projects from Jira and all that, but it's quite a bit of complication beyond just a statement of work's pretty easy to abstract and reduce PII and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So can you just use Cloudbot to write all your content? Is that something you guys can do for us?
We don't do that. It's a program where we pull that in, and then we have a full automated process. It's much more than just a Cloudbot in and out. But yes, you totally could, and I actually wrote a blog post on our website if you want to do that. I outline exactly how you recreate our product and what kind of time and cost commitment it would be rather than just paying for our service. But yes, it's on our website. Next question.
Are you finding that using AI-generated content is better than
So I actually, despite everything I just said about using AI to leverage, I don't believe that you should just put it on autopilot. That's actually part of our premise. We do help you automate it. We get you a really good rough draft. Our goal is to take what would take you an hour per draft and make it 10 minutes or something like that. I do believe there's value in having human touch still. I don't think that's going to go away for a long time. I think actually Google's going to get more strict on it because they know. And so having that human touch is really good. But we do have a full context engine behind it that is going to get you much more accurate content from the first get than you just putting it into Claude or something like that. Yep. Yeah.
So what I understand is that you have a service provider, you work with service providers. You mentioned that you have a photographer as one of your clients.
Yeah.
So I work in the art realm, and in the art world, a lot of people are very anti-AI and even anti-using it for search engines. They want to turn this off. So how do you find artistic and creative clients? How do you appeal to them?
Are they service-based businesses?
Some of them, yeah.
Well, we help you market your services. And if you don't like to use AI to do that, then we're probably not for you. But we're not taking away your creativity in the sense you could go.
Oh, no, and I'm not saying
Oh,
that.
okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying that how do you appeal to people who are are generally like, oh, that's not really for me, but like, how do you let them know, like, but this is what I can do for you? Like, how do you appeal to that kind of client who doesn't think AI is for them?
To be honest, I haven't bridged that a lot because at this point I'm just focused on finding the people who do want to use it. But someday I'm sure I'll have to bridge that more. We're getting a lot of people reaching out, just super excited about it. Sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Got time for one more question.
Let's go here. Yeah,
You mentioned early on in your speech about in the early 2000s that Google had to deal with a lot of spam.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you're anticipating for the new era of AI.
Yeah, there already is a lot of it, huh? So it's been a big priority. You can look up the CEO, YouTube came out earlier this year and said that's one of their top priorities to figure out. That's also part of why I think service stories will become more and more valuable to companies because we're using real work you did. We're not making it up. I've had people come and say, well, you have all this context. You know how businesses operate in these different lanes. Like, can't you just generate this content for me? Why do you have to use my tickets? And like, yeah, I actually could, right? We literally could. That's against our business premise. Actually, what we're doing, we basically create the most serendipitous programmatic SEO you could have. It's literally just the work you do every day. We're not programmatically doing it. It doesn't sound robotic. It literally, like, we're pulling in the customer conversations. We have the language, the voice of the human who wrote those notes is all in there, We're extending the shorthand rather than, well, you could rank for these 100 keywords, press a button, here's 10 articles. Those are all made up. I think where it's going to go is they're going to focus more and more and more on verifiable content. Did you actually do the work? Did you have some kind of touch on it, or where did it go? I don't know if we'll ever be able to really verify what is AI content or not, but I do think at some point, like, there may be a way to index that, and the value of having your real work turned into real content, I think will rank higher. I mean, we've already seen it, but I think it's going to hold steady. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
And you already did your ask, but we ask it again at the end of what can we as a community do for you?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, in addition to the feedback, I'm find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk more if you have more questions. But also, we are looking for early customers. We're launching public in April after being in pilot for about the last 5 months. We're super excited about it. I'd love to give you a demo if you're interested. So joe@servicestories.com or just servicestories.com and click a demo. Thank you.
And Joe will be around to answer any questions one-on-one.
Yeah.
And if right after, if you could come up here with the organizers, we'd like to get a picture.
Yes, of course. Also, best MC.
Thank you.
How do you start a presentation without that?
Okay.
You got a photo here now? Or?
No. After we're all done, yes. Okay, our second presenter today is Sarah Donovan with Gilded Gecko. I take it this has nothing to do with insurance.
No. No, not at all.
And it has nothing to do with castrated reptiles.
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay. Here is Sarah. Let's give her a big hand with Gilded Gecko. Woo!
I'm not a tech guy, so like you feel free to watch me struggle. Yeah, look at that. All right. All right, I'm Sarah. Some people know me as Gilded Gecko. All right. I started Gilded Gecko in 2024 as a pop-up shop making handmade upcycled jewelry. Next year, I expanded and I started as an art-focused events host. So I curate art-focused markets. I create spaces where art vendors can feel seen, they can sell their work, and they really get like good exposure. So my events prioritize accessibility primarily. I keep my rates really low so that all types of artists and makers can afford to join the events. My main event right now is First Friday at Tower Square. It's downtown at 1300 P Street. In last year, I had room for 24 vendor tents. This year, I have room for 32 vendor tents, so we're able to expand my main event. In 2024, I hosted just 2 events, and in 2026, I'm welcoming 18 art-based events to Lincoln. We had a couple of event planners sort of like me go under, and our local arts council went under around the same time that I was coming up. And instead of complaining about my lack of opportunities, I decided just to create them myself. I figured if I need places to pop up, so do other people like me. So what works? My events always have foot traffic. People always show up. Customers enjoy their time there. My customers specifically, not art market customers, really enjoy that I have a variety of items. I'm always dropping fresh things. They can find me at a variety of locations, including my own private studio, and they seem to like the frequency in which they can find me. Something else that works for me is that I'm really good at establishing relationships. So I have a really good relationship with Downtown Lincoln Association and the City of Lincoln, specifically the Parks and Rec Department. I've really gotten to know local gallery owners and downtown businesses, and I find that having them kind of excited about my events helps create like a little just excitement downtown, and it gets that buzz going. You know, every business has some pain points, and Gilded Gecko is not without them. So some of my pain points include advertising. So how should I be spending my money? Right now, what I'm doing is I'm spending my money on social media ads, word of mouth, print ads, and I'm joining local groups to kind of push my information out. So I would say that, you know, I do have a pretty tight budget, so I'm looking for ways to advertise that are going to be more cost effective. I really want high visibility, and I want people who like art and events and community to have access to this kind of thing. Another pain point I experience is sponsorship. I need to understand how to scale beyond my own network. I'm only a regular at so few places. I know who I know, and I don't know people beyond that. So I have several events that need sponsors, but how do I go ahead and find these people and get them wanting to give me money for the event that I'm working on? I don't want to burn them out by asking repeatedly, so I need to be able to find additional sponsors. One of my sponsors right now is Dietz Music, and that is run by Levi William Patton. And I met Levi back in 2024 when I jumped on stage to perform with a band. I did a live painting while the band performed, and I found that that guy was so talented and kind, and we were able to just establish a really easy connection, and we stayed in touch over time. So with his work, I was able to ask him for something, but I don't naturally know people in that way where I feel comfortable asking them for things like that. So I'm asking, how can I do that? Maybe you guys have suggestions. Another pain point that I have is my pricing model. So one of the things that I do currently is I focus on keeping my price points low. I have a low barrier for entry. All my events cost between $5 and $40 to join. Typically, art events cost between $50 and $250 to join. So I'm really slashing prices over here. But what's happening is people are resistant to paying additional higher fees, but in turn, I'm not able to sustain long term. I want to become more financially stable, but also maintain fair pricing. So I need to be able to have both things work, where my community sees what I'm working on and appreciates that and is willing to pay those prices to join me in my art events. These are different ways you can contact me, including a QR code to my LinkedIn. Gilded Gecko has an event coming up. I'm going to be at Crafts and Drafts at O'Rourke's on the 4th. It runs from 3 to 7 p.m. on April 4th, downtown at 1329 O Street. On April 18th, I have an event at Turbine Flats. It's called Who Arted. There's 18 different artistic vendors, and I curate the playlist for that. On May 1st, you can catch me outside. I'll be at Tower Square at 1300 P Street with 32 other artistic vendors. On May 23rd, I'll be at Jake's Cigar Bar, which is my favorite place in town. It truly is like Disneyland for adults, you know. I host a 14 vendor market at Jake's Cigar Bar. And then on June 5th, we'll be back outside at Tower Square for First Friday. Something that most people don't know about yet is on 6/7, I'm hosting an event at Union Plaza Amphitheater. It's my biggest event yet. I've got 18 vendors and 4 live bands. I'm really excited about that. And lastly, I want to announce the Rural Wandering Market. Nobody has heard about this. You guys are the first to know. Rural Wandering Photography is a girl named Nicole and myself, Gilded Gecko, are teaming up to create a series of 2 events on the south side at 1241 Aries Drive. We're hosting a market on July 12th and also November 22nd. There'll be indoor markets with 30 makers. And adding those to my roundup really helped me get into the south side. That was something I was looking to break into. And also it rounded me out for a nice 18 events this year. And I'm really excited to show you everything I have to offer. So to round things out, I would say I have a lot of things that are good. I have a lot of things that are working for me, but I do have some pain points. And to review, my pain points are advertising, my price model, and sponsorship. So my ask today is to ask you, how can I make these things easier to attain in my art world? Yes.
I can't remember his name, but if you go to Open Coffee tomorrow, he would probably be there, or Brian Arger would be there. But what this person has, he has a stock for events, and he has an original way of monetizing events. He comes from the music world, so what he does is, if you're organizing a music event.
Is Open Coffee the thing that Randy Hawthorne puts on from DLA?
No.
No, okay.
So what this person does is, let's say that you put in a concert and you sell tickets to everybody. But you can sell higher price tickets for a special thing with the singer. So for example, there's a meal that you're gonna have with the people in the band, and that has a higher price. So yeah, I can give you a Brian Ardinger's name, or if you go to Open Coffee tomorrow, you can meet him.
Yeah, we'll have to talk after this, and we'll figure out where Open Coffee is and how I can get more information on that. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Anyone else have questions or suggestions? Stripes.
Have you thought about opening it up to like business booths and having them sponsor at $100 and they can have a booth at the market, or $300 and they can have a booth at the market as well?
Yes and no. So the only way I would allow an actual physical larger scale business to join the event is if they sponsor. So my events are specifically for tiny micro businesses, artisans, handmade people, like really small brands that are like bespoke. So if I bring in like Runza and the Mill to pop up at my event, that really gives people the impression that I no longer care about my own mission, because my mission is to like focus on like the little guys, so to speak. So what I have done is I've been reaching out to people for my larger scale events, and I've been positioning it like, hey, this is the event, this is what works at the event. I'd love to have you sponsor and bring you into the event with a tent space. I do offer that if they sponsor, but not otherwise, because I don't want the like smaller businesses to feel a disadvantage, you know? Hat.
No, I was just going to say, what if you flipped that? The
having the big business who have people who work in the big business who actually do things like that, right? So the big business could sponsor, right? But the vendors would be people who are doing it as side work. That's their thing on their side, right? Is that making sense?
No.
For example, Nelnet, they are doing something where they're having some of the people that work there, their employees are doing like, I don't want to call it like a craft thing, but they're coming to show their talent, right, in relation to the arts. And so I can't go there, but the employees that work there can actually go and purchase the things the arts that they do, but they also work for Nelnet.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking like you have some artists that are working for big corporations that are interested in doing that kind of work where they could sponsor so many of them or something like that.
I think where I'm at with that right now is just that, like, okay, I'm going to keep it really transparent here. My sponsors are not as big as you might be thinking. So I don't have Nelnet and I don't have Aloe. I've got G&G Smoke Shop. I've got Jake's Cigar Bar. I've got, like, you know, Hub Cafe, like, at a lower rate. I don't have one of, like, the main businesses in town, like, giving me thousands. I've got people that want to give me a couple $100 and I'm like, yeah, running with it. So what I'm saying for you is that that's not a bad idea, but I'm not in with a big corporation like that to know who all the artists and makers are within that company. So like I only know like the one guy that I talk to, you know, so I don't have like a relationship with that company specifically. So I wouldn't necessarily know how to get the in for that type of event, but I'm not opposed to things like that.
Ask somebody, we can talk.
Okay, cool.
We've got time for one more question.
How much does it cost to join a vendor? If somebody like want to join that vendor?
They're all between $5 and $40 a month.
Okay.
It just depends on which event you join. I've got 18 different ones.
Okay, and you've already given us your ask, but we're going to ask you again. What can we as a community do for you?
I need help and I need support. I want to become more financially stable. And a way that I do that is by not having to pay for things directly out of my own pocket. Where are good places for me to advertise? Who can I use as sponsors? Those are my primary asks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vaughn.
And immediately after we break, we do ask all the organizers and the two presenters to come up so we can get a picture for history's sake. Upcoming events tomorrow morning, Open Coffee. Open Coffee is at Crescent Moon, which is down in the basement at 8th and P Street. Starts at 8, goes to 9:30ish. And no agenda, no program. You just have coffee and talk with your fellow entrepreneurs, startups, innovators. And there's a similar type of thing if you'd prefer something a little stronger than coffee. Friday afternoon from 4 to 5:30, 6 is Friday Founders and Friends in the basement underneath the Old Federal Building, the Boiler Brewing Company. Again, just have a beer, wine, scotch, whatever with your fellow entrepreneurs and chat and talk. Do you have anything coming up, Scott, that we need to be aware of?
Scott Henderson in Motion, powered by Generator. Yes, we do have every Friday this month a pitch practice via Zoom. So if you're a founder, you're an aspiring founder, and you want to get real feedback from real investors so you can have real growth, go to nmotion, like nonstop, nmotion.co, and you can see it on the main page. You go nmotion.co/pitch practice and apply. This week's full, but we've got slots next week. So you get about 10-15 minutes, and we'll have a different slate of investors each time. But these are people who are actively taking investor pitches, and they're going to give you constructive feedback on what you can do. So it's not like you're going into feedback and you're going to get the pitch. You're going to go get real feedback. So that's your biggest gift. So, nmotion.co/pitch practice. You might also notice that our applications are open, so if you're looking to apply for the InMotion Fall 2026 cohort, get a $100,000 investment, go to the same website, check it out. Thank you very much.
How long is that event running?
It's just via Zoom, and it's every Friday, so people you come in and you do your pitch and you're out there.
And then, of course, we have the Innovation Summit coming up. Who's got the date? I've got it on my 13th of June. April 13th. Okay, April 13th at the Sheldon Art Gallery. It's sort of the big innovation event of the year. Brian Ardiger does that every year, so put that on your calendar. And I think if you use the 1 million cups code, you can get a good discount on the registration there. Any other upcoming events that we need to be aware of? Okay, stick around, have some more coffee.
There's one event right here.
Okay, yes.
University of Nebraska, the Center for Entrepreneurship, the Lisa Connor. We have our new venture competition on April. The semifinals and finals will be on April 14th at the Nebraska Union, as well as at Huddle's headquarters. So, and that's for
Okay.
Last but not least, next Wednesday, we also have 1 million cups, so don't forget that, just in case, everything else, but this one, do some, will present, so he, Joe Smith, and Galopio, will also be presented as well, so come back and listen to awesome presentation.
Oh, our government expert just walked in the door. So if you want to do business with the government, that's the man to talk to. Have some more coffee, network with your fellow business people, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 1 Million Cups.